Hi, in this session, we'll go through the importance of being well prepared for job interviews and how to adapt your approach depending on the format, whether in person, via video, or over the phone. We'll also touch on ways to effectively answer behavioral questions or case studies which are common in STEM roles. And finally, how to effectively research about the company. Let's dive in. So preparing thoroughly for interviews is crucial for three main reasons. One, first impressions. It is vital to make a first strong impression to show the interviewer that you're genuinely and deeply serious about the role and joining the company. Two, confidence. Preparation boosts your confidence, helping you to articulate your thoughts more clearly so that you're able to respond to questions more effectively. And finally, competitive edge. You can highlight your unique skills and experience through detailed preparation, which does give you an edge over other candidates. I'll touch later in more detail how you can frame your storytelling using STAR technique to ensure you are sharing your skills and experience in the most effective way. So how to prepare for different interview formats? Whilst it is important to recognize there are some commonalities between in-person, virtual, and phone interviews, there are also some key differences, and you need to ensure you are adapting your approach for each setting. Okay, so for in-person interviews, remember three things. One, you dress appropriately and that you look the part. Two, it's all about that body language, make sure that you have the firm handshake, the eye contact that you make throughout the interview process, and good posture when you're sitting during the interview. Make sure you're smiling and don't forget to thank the interviewer. And then finally, travel plan, something that sounds so simple but can be easily messed up. So make sure you're reaching the venue 20 minutes in advance so that you have time to relax, get water, and just get comfortable and confident, So for virtual interviews, technology is crucial. Make sure your internet connection, your camera, and your microphone work well. Some companies might use different platforms like Microsoft Teams or Zoom or Skype, whatever it is. Make sure you're following their instructions. It's typically shared via an email from the company. So make sure you've downloaded the right platform, tested it out, and you're familiar with it. Also, if you are expected to do a presentation virtually, by having the platform ready and tested means that you're familiar with the functionalities when you go in to the interview virtually. So you're not faffing around and the last thing you really need is a surprise. So make sure you have the right platform and you're confident going into the interview virtually. So the other thing is your environment. Choose a quiet and well-lit space, ideally with a neutral background. And be mindful of your on-screen presence. Look into the camera to make that eye contact and speak clearly. Now, finally, for telephone interviews, the advantage of it is they can't see you, so you can have your notes ready. But make sure you're not reading off line by line. It's mainly prompts for you to remember the key things that you really want to share. But on the other hand, because they can't see you, make sure you are mindful of your vocal clarity and your tone as well. You may have to up your energy a little bit because it's really difficult to see that, through obviously your phone call. And make sure there are no distractions. You're in a quiet place where you won't be interrupted. And if you do find yourself in a public setting when you receive the call, let them know. And if possible, you can rearrange, ask to rearrange, because the last thing you need is interruption and disruption, which again impacts your first impression. Remember what I said earlier, first impression is really important. So it is okay to request a reschedule if you're in a very disruptive call. Moving on to answering behavioral questions or case studies. Now, behavioral questions and case studies are common in roles in STEM, and this is really to assess your problem solving and technical skills. Now, you can use STAR technique to frame your answers for behavioral questions or case studies. STAR stands for situation, which is around describing the context within which you performed a task. T stands for task. This is where you can explain the actual task you had to complete and what the goal was. A stands for action. This is around the specifics of the action you took to attain the task. And finally, result is for R. This is where you can share the outcomes or results of your action, and you can also touch on what you learned from the process. Now, STAR is a versatile and adaptable framework that you can use not only during your interviews but also for your CVs and cover letters and application form. So this means you can really repurpose your story for different scenarios, like, let's say, problem solving, teamwork, or communication, leadership, analytical skills, so on and so forth. And finally, research the company about their values, their ethos. What does their strategy look like? This something that sounds so simple and straightforward. Many candidates miss this bit, which is about researching the company. Remember the competitive edge that I mentioned at the very beginning? So by researching about the company, you're able to tailor your responses where you can demonstrate your values and goals to align with the organization, which in return really shows that you have done your research and you're genuinely interested in the role and joining the company again. Okay, and finally, don't forget to prepare 3 to 4 questions that you can ask at the end of your interview. Make sure they are smart questions, not about how many holidays you can get. Some examples could include, what are the main challenges that you foresee in this role that you can ask your interviewer. Questions like, what does training and development look like in this company? Or a bit more personal to the interviewer in terms of, could you tell me what has kept you in the company, so that you can learn a little bit more about the culture potentially, and whether that's a good fit for you. So to summarize it all, remember to prepare for different settings, whether in person, video, or over the phone, and practice your STAR technique. And finally, don't forget to research about the company and prepare some questions to ask at the end of your interview. So here is my top tip. One of the common questions you get during an interview is, why this role or why this company? So I cannot emphasize about researching about the company and preparing your pitch. This is your story. Make sure that you're confident telling your story. Practice with your friends, family, a career coach at your university. Make sure you have a story to tell why you want to join this role or this company. All right, good luck and ace those job interviews.